In this series, we trace the lost railway lines of Lancaster and Morecambe. This episode focuses on the city of Lancaster. We are on the trail of Lancaster's first railway station. There are clues if you know where to look, and remnants of railway heritage. There's even an original platform, now part of a car park. The building itself, hidden behind trees, now forms offices for the Royal Lancaster Infirmary. Thousands of people probably pass the building every day, unaware of its history, despite the incorrectly dated plaque on the wall. The building was the terminus of the Lancaster and Preston Junction Railway, which opened on June 25, 1840. So prestigious was the coming of the railway to Lancaster that the day was made a public holiday throughout the city. The first journey saw 200 people transported to Preston, complete with a band who played throughout the trip. The local newspaper, the Lancaster Guardian, complimented the company on the very great smoothness with which the carriages passed over the rails. The building is not open to the public, but we were granted special access to see what remains of Lancaster's original station. Substantial growth in the garden has shrouded much of the building, but there are still architectural features that can be seen at close quarters. Comparing the view today with an earlier photograph shows just how much nature has hidden. The rear of the building can be seen much more clearly. This is where passengers would have exited the building to access the platforms. A couple of surviving details include an original boot scraper and the station bell, which would have been rung to alert passengers when trains were due to depart. The interior includes an original staircase, leaded glass windows, original mouldings, and a cellar probably used for provisions to be sent by train.
The Lancaster and Preston Railway faced difficulties almost from the start. The Lancaster Canal Company, whose business they hoped to attract, slashed their prices. And then in 1846 came a real competitor.
The Lancaster and Carlisle Railway Company began to operate services from their Castle station in the city. The two companies shared the line from a point just to the south, and it was this arrangement which was to lead to disaster. An express service operated by the Lancaster and Carlisle Railway collided with a slow-moving Lancaster and Preston Junction service at Bay Horse, just to the south of Lancaster. The inquest laid the blame squarely at the door of the Lancaster and Preston Junction Railway. Shortly afterwards, they ceased passenger services and closed the original station. Services to and from Lancaster were now provided via Castle Station.
This stretch of track from the original station was still in use until the late 1960s, serving a goods yard, until that too fell under the axe of Dr. Beeching.
We've come to Lancaster Station to explore the platforms used by the line from Green Air. In particular, Platform 6, which closed to passenger services in 1966. We've been given special permission to access the platform and the surviving buildings. These waiting rooms date from 1900 and still feature the original fireplaces and parquet flooring. Over the years, the rooms have been used for storage, so they contain a variety of paraphernalia relating to the railways. Next to the staircase is the original lift shaft, which currently provides storage space for some vintage platform lighting. The toilet facilities may have fallen a little below standard these days, but it's still possible to make out the detail of the original flooring.
So, from here on platform 6, the Green Air services would have headed round the castle loop, down to Green Air Junction, and from there to Morecambe and Heysham.
We're leaving Lancaster now to follow the Green Air route, but not before we stop to pay tribute to Joseph Locke, the engineer of the Lancaster and Carlisle Railway. There's a plaque on platform 3. We're off round Castle Hill, following the old line from Lancaster Castle Station to Lancaster Green Air. As we follow the route of the original track, we pass the remains of a pedestrian bridge. The route continues along the south bank of the River Lune, past the area on the right where goods sheds and the railway turntable were located. The area is now the site of a supermarket and flats.
At Green Air Junction, trains coming from Green Air Station would have headed onto the Greyhound Bridge towards Morecambe and Heysham.
We continue to follow the route as it crosses the River Lune on the Greyhound Bridge, and then follows the river under Carlisle Bridge towards our final destination, Scale Hall. In 1957, a station was added to the Green Air line at Scale Hall, just a short distance past the Carlisle Bridge, which carried the West Coast Main Line over the River Lune. Despite its close proximity to Lancaster, the station was well used, but in 1966 it closed along with the rest of the line. These days, it's part of the Lancaster to Morecambe cycleway, and the railway sleepers are put to alternative use. But like a lot of the Green Air line, if you look beneath the surface, there is railway heritage to be found.
But we're just off the cycle track here on a mound that was formerly the platform of Scale Hall Station. The area is littered with bricks, concrete and debris from the railway. The undergrowth is quite thick, but you can still make out lots and lots of bits of the former platform that was here.
Most people probably pass along this cycle track without noticing the remains of the railway all around them.
Well, this is quite clearly a stone from the platform edge from Scale Hall Station. Fantastic to see it still laying here in situ after all these years.
As we leave the platform and continue to head towards Morecambe, we find the remains of one of the catenary masts. This gives a clue to the significance of this stretch of the line. Nicknamed the Golden Mile, it was used for experiments in railway electrification, experiments which led to the development of the system now used on the West Coast Main Line.
So when the Green Air Line closed in 1966, Scale Hall Station went along with the others, and that's the end of the story. Or is it?
To discover the final secret of Scale Hall Station, we've come to Morecambe Cricket Club, where, in the committee room, there are 3 photographs on the wall. These show how, in 1975, the cricket club transformed the old Scale Hall Station into a brand new pavilion, which, although adapted over the years, still stands to this day, containing remnants of the original station. During the relocation of the station building from Scale Hall to Morecambe, the cricket club obtained one little souvenir which they treasure to this day.
So we've seen the coming of the railways to Lancaster, we've seen the opening of Castle Station and the Lancaster and Carlisle Railway, we've seen how Castle Station joined up with the Green Air Line, and we followed the Green Air Line past Scale Hall and onwards to Morecambe. We'll see you next time on Lost Railways of Lancaster and Morecambe.